Next, we're going to start talking into the actual lead generation tactics and what we do here. And so this is actually a pretty simple process. When I share it all with you, it's going to sound kind of obvious, but I'll share it with you pretty quickly. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to use LinkedIn Sales Navigator here to put together a search queue of our target customers. And in a moment, I'm actually going to take a break from this and I'm going to pull up LinkedIn Sales Navigator and just show you how targeted and some of the really cool stuff you can do with that. But basically what you're going to do is, so this is an example where I believe I was targeting design agency owners in the San Francisco area. You're going to pull that up and you're going to start sending connection requests to people. And you're going to send a short and sweet casual connection request. You can try to find different ways or personalize this or put some personality into it if you want, but this is a really safe, simple script. And I was browsing your profile, noticed we work in a similar space, so I thought I would reach out to connect. So this script is very casual, very basic. You're not trying to sell in this. If you actually try to sell in these too much, it's another way to get your profile banned. You don't want to pitch ever in a connection request. So this is kind of a simple framework. Again, we actually see better results when people find some way to kind of personalize this or be quirky. We've had people put smiley faces in here or just add some personality to this, or kind of if you can frame this around a common interest and use a keyword there. So there's a lot of stuff you can do there, but basically this kind of low commitment, just saying, hey, I wanted to connect is kind of the goal here. And then what I'll do is I'll put my name and again, put the tagline there at the bottom and basically use that as a way to kind of position or intrigue someone. And the interesting piece is just sending connection requests like this with your tagline, you're going to have people respond and say, hey, you sound interesting. I would love to hear more about what you do. So if your tagline is good and your value proposition is good and you reach out to the right customers, just sending those connection requests alone is going to actually make a lot of impact. So what we do then and what we recommend is eventually over the course of those 2 weeks, after you scale this up, you can get to a point where you're sending about 100 connection requests per day. Every once in a while, LinkedIn might get a little finicky and you may need to bump that back down. But on average, for most of our customers, we're able to send up to about 100 connection requests per day. Out of those 100 connection requests that we send out, what we typically find is about 15 to 30% accept. If you're targeting really difficult decision makers, or maybe you're looking at a less tech savvy industry like manufacturing, then you might get a slightly lower response rate. But on average, when people are targeting small to medium sized businesses, what we typically find is a 15 to 30% acceptance rate. Now, once someone accepts a connection request, what we then do is we drip a non-salesy messages to them over time. And so we're not pitching. This is probably the biggest thing, this non-salesy piece. I want to just emphasize that like crazy, because whenever you're salesy on LinkedIn, it's like trying to kiss on the first date kind of thing. It's a silly analogy, but it is so true. Anytime our customers pitch too early in their LinkedIn conversations, it just kills the thread and the person stops responding. So this is kind of the standard framework that we use. We send a connection request is the first piece, and I shared that with you. The second thing we'll do is say, hey, thanks for connecting. And then we'll try to ask a question, something that's going to frame around their business, something that's going to kind of position the conversation in a way. So my question whenever I'm reaching out is I say, hey, what are your primary lead generation sources, or how are you getting most of your leads right now? So that gives me, starts a conversation, people answer, I get some information. We can have a dialogue about lead generation, which is what our business does. We've got some other clients. We had one client I was speaking with yesterday that specializes in Amazon AWS services. So, our question is, hey, are you currently using AWS, or have you ever considered that for your business? And so again, he's not pitching his services. He's just asking, do they use Amazon AWS, or are they ever considering it? And so it's a conversation starter, just something to provoke and start a conversation. But again, we're not being too salesy and we're not pitching in that second message. After we send that question, which we'll typically do that right after someone connects, or that basically the next day, about a week later, between 2 and 3, there's a week delay, we're going to try to send over some sort of useful article or information. So something valuable. It's actually going to be meaningful or useful. You don't want to just send, a 5 tips to doing this. You want to send over some really kind of cornerstone content, something that's going to be useful. Typically don't recommend podcasts or videos. unless the video is under 2 minutes. You want something skimmable. You want to make it a small, simple commitment. So blog posts or 60 to 2 minute long videos are probably about kind of the type of content that you want to share. We've sometimes seen case studies work well here. You got to be careful not to be too salesy with it. And what you ideally want to do is make your case study something that's kind of educational on how you actually achieve this for the client, and not just, hey, we did this for the client and then XYZ accomplishments. You want to kind of make it educational or show the process or show the details if you're going to do a case study. So those are the first 3 messages. And then basically 1 week after we send the article, we'll send one more drip message asking for a meeting. So basically, we're not pitching or making a direct sale until message 4. And at message 4, we'll say something like, hey, I was looking at your profile. I think it could be worthwhile for us to have more of a discussion because I really think I could help you. This is what we do. Here's our value proposition. Would you be interested in a quick call to talk more? And so really, it's only after that 4th message do we ever actually make a direct pitch. So very simple, very straightforward. But as you see, the first 3 messages are not salesy, and we just find that works super well to kind of just have that much more laid back approach and just try to start conversations on LinkedIn. And doing this kind of conversation approach, it's just how people like to engage. LinkedIn is a chat platform. It's different than cold email. So starting conversations is just really one of the most important things here.